Welcome to AI Tools for Practicing Lawyers, practical, no-nonsense guidance to help attorneys put AI power to work in their practice right now.
Hello, welcome to another episode of AI Tools for Practicing Lawyers. I'm Ron Drescher.
I'm Heather Gardner.
And if you spend any time on social media right now, you're going to see something amazing. And it's kind of mind-boggling. Every week, there is another tool for AI lawyers. There's more intake tools. There are research tools, tools to make you communicate better with your clients, tools to sort and file your documents. It's really overwhelming. And if you're a practitioner, it's out of control. So last week, we talked about what I like to call primary care tools, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. So originally, I intended this to be kind of a survey of what I want to call specialist tools that affect other aspects of your practice, specific aspect of your practice. But I realized that can't happen because there are just so many, and they're coming out with new ones every week. So instead, I thought a lot about this because it's important to the framework of what we're trying to accomplish in this podcast. I thought, well, all right, what's the point of these tools? Why are we interested in these tools? And it's because every law firm, every business, but we're talking about law firms, have systems. They have systems for initial client intake. They've got systems for fulfillment of legal services. They've got systems for hiring and firing. They've got, some big firms, they've got systems for how to read email. So they have systems, and ideally, these AI tools will help enhance the systems and reduce bottlenecks. That's really the point of it all. So the analysis of AI tools, bright, shiny object, apart from, well, how is this going to help me solve a real problem? You have to, in my opinion, look at it from that standpoint. What problem are we trying to solve? And I think that there are four buckets of systems. There's sales and marketing, initial client contact, collecting the money, and onboarding the client so that the client knows what to expect from the engagement. Then there's the fulfillment, the actual legal work, the motions you draft, the research you do, the bankruptcy schedules you file, the wills you create, all of that stuff. That's that's what they teach us in law school. That's all they teach us in law school. They don't teach about any of the other buckets. The third is an administrative bucket. Like I said, hiring and firing people, benefits supervision, compensation, getting the office clean. That's administrative work. And then the fourth, which we're not going to really talk about today, but personal and professional development. CLE, work-life balance. All of these are part of the systems of a law firm. And all of these have AI tools designated for them. So, all right. Now, I've always made it important to be transparent in everything I do. And as I said in the last episode, a lot of what we talk about is organized by ChatGPT. And there's a lot of collaboration with that. So I asked ChatGPT to give me a couple of sound bites for the theme of this episode. And one of them was primary care AI helps you think better. Specialist AI helps your firm run better. Okay, that's okay. Another one that ChatGPT came up with, and by the way, in my house, ChatGPT is a he, but ChatGPT could be a she, it could be an it could be a them, whatever your pronoun of choice is. The other one is primary care tools are powerful assistants. Specialist tools are purpose-built employees.
Wow. I had it give me a town and tell you what it told me.
I want to hear that.
AI isn't one tool, it's a category of tools. And depending on where you are, Flintstones, Simpsons, or Jetsons, there are different tools that make sense.
And different approaches that make sense.
Right.
And I hope we're able to offer some value to listeners to help navigate the deluge. Now, let's talk about the tools. Heather, I know you're using some of these tools in your day-to-day work. What are you using and how's that going?
I use ChatGPT Enterprise, which I've talked about on previous shows the most often. I use Spellbook, which is the ChatGPT that's built for legal, that is an add on to Microsoft Suite. I have one staff that uses that with attorneys' supervision and knowledge and approval, and attorneys that are really excited about using that software.
What are, what are you doing with Spellbook?
Contract reviews, redlining, first drafts, dropping complete discovery or motions or any type of documents or anything you need to into it. It will suggest additions or revisions for that. It'll even allow you to, in the box, put the cursor where you want it dropped into the document. It will create clauses or addendums to things that you need. And then if you want it, you just click the button on your cursor and it drops it in for you. It's amazing. It's an amazing tool.
Now, I don't use it, but I researched it and I looked at demos and some videos online, and it seems to be very contract heavy. But you just said something that took me a little bit by surprise, that lawyers are putting motions into
Oh yeah,
them.
it's secure.
How
It's
does that work?
end to end
Does it
encrypted. It's very secure. You can actually put confidential documents into this software. It's not like ChatGPT. It is like ChatGPT, but it's not. It's secure and it's built for law. Not only that, you can put your consult notes and it will draft in a follow-up email to that client based on the notes you drop in. Give you a good first draft you'll of course want to tweak or any meeting. I've used it, just played with it a lot. I've never really used it myself. And in the bankruptcy industry, we're not going to use it the way a litigation attorney or a family attorney might use it.
I got the feeling that it was really kind of core for transactional lawyers who are in contract and contract clauses all day.
It'll
But I'm
draft
hearing
you
that it's really much more than that.
much more. It will draft your motions. It will, like you had even said, you've used GPT to draft motions. I personally would not do what you did, but I will use Spellbook to draft motions.
Why wouldn't you use ChatGPT to create motions?
I don't trust it, for empirical reasons. In the short time it's been out, we've seen how shady, how tricky that's been. I won't use it for that simply because I don't feel like it's there yet.
Are you talking about the hallucination of citations, that problem?
Not even just
Or are
that.
you seeing other problems?
Other problems, yes.
Like what? What have you seen?
Redundancy, not just hallucinations of that, but not using correct language or court etiquette or so many things. And as you know, attorneys are utilizing it and then filing things sometimes unedited or unreviewed. And that is a really, I would say, fundamentally irresponsible way to use it, even though we know many attorneys are overworked and underpaid and stretched. And that's why they're saying, ooh, there's this tool that I can use and I can just start filing things with it. Many people still haven't seen those cases with hallucinations because we know that because we still keep seeing them pop up.
We
We've
do.
talked
It's
about it recently,
amazing.
more
After
and
all
more.
this. So, you touched upon something that is an undercurrent theme of all AI discussions. And that's this kind of like 10, $10,000 word called governance,
Hmm.
which is not a word I love.
Right.
What it really means is a human's got to watch. That's all it really means.
Absolutely.
A
Yeah.
human, and to what extent does a human have to watch what the AI is doing? That's
Fair.
if you hear the word governance, that's what it means. It's
Mhm.
really it's risk, the risk that you incur when you use this technology and you're not paying attention. It's like, all right, 747s fly and they've got autopilot and AI, but how would you feel if you saw the pilots kind of like just walking back and forth down the aisle and you said, "Is there anybody in the cockpit?" And it turns out there's nobody in the cockpit.
Mhm.
How would you feel about that? I don't think too many of us would feel really comfortable, and that's kind of the metaphor that I think of when I think about humans' oversight of AI
It's always going to
tools.
be a need. And I think that the people that realize that and use it more, I hate to say responsibly, but smarter that use it
Okay.
smarter, that understand it cannot replace, it should not be replacing human judgment. It should, be a
No.
multiplier for you in your work and your everyday life. It can help you organize thoughts. It can help you create drafts and outlines, but it should not replace your own judgment, your own oversight. These are things that you're still responsible for even when you're using AI.
You know what? I couldn't have said that any better. That is exactly correct. So, all right. So, Spellbook sounds like a winner. Sounds like
It's
something
great.
worth looking at. Any other tools that you've, kind of looked at?
I use Otter AI, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Otter AI is a note taking, transcribing video recording for meetings, and you can have it, jump in and record any meeting. I, of course, don't have it come into these, but I could go onto my Otter account now and just say, record this meetings on my calendar. So it would just jump in here. It would
Right.
find the link
Right.
in the calendar and join. That is such a valuable tool for me, my staff, my clients, everyone uses it. If any client ever comes to me and says, "Do you remember this? We talked about such and such. What did we say about that?" I can go look in the transcript and search it. I can find that. I don't even have to listen to the whole meeting. I can find what they want. It's sectioned, it's got a bullet point summary, it has a full transcript, it has video in segments. So you don't have to go through all of the video. You can find the segment you want to look at if you need to look back at something.
I love Otter
Me
AI.
too.
But Otter has become kind of the category leader of
And
that
yeah.
category, and it deservedly so, but there
Mhm.
are other tools that do the same thing, and in
Yes.
fact, there's hardware that you
Mhm.
can get. You can you see it in your social media feed, I'm sure. You wear it around your neck, it's
Mhm.
this nice little triangle, and it's just recording everything.
Yeah, I have Plod. I have the one you wear on your wrist that I don't
Okay.
use because I don't need it, but I have it just in case I ever need that, to record meetings. There's an AI note taker you can add to your Apple Watch now that will
Yes.
record all of your meetings that you can just push a button and not even have to worry about getting anything else out or attached.
Massive ethical and legal problems with
Landmines. Yeah.
this. Landmines,
Landmines.
right? But but I used to record all my phone calls when I was in practice, and we disclosed that. And most people are pretty fine with that.
Mhm,
The
mhm,
only people, maybe less than 5 times, did I have somebody object. It was always a lawyer.
mhm.
It was always a lawyer that objected.
Right.
But nowadays, would advise whoever I'm meeting with, listen, would you mind if I record this? Because I want to have my software send you a bullet point summary of our discussion. And
Mhm,
when you phrase it in a way that adds value to the other person in the
mhm.
conversation, I think you're more likely to have success in that. But you have to get consent depending upon your state and your jurisdiction. Some states are one person consent states, and
Yes.
you can surreptitiously record. I saw an ad for Facebook today. I'm doing a panel on AI in May. And I sent this to the other panel member. It's some guy saying, "Oh, you need to record your court proceedings so that they could give you a summary and you could follow along. Every objection, every talking point comes right there." I said, "Unbelievable. Every court in the land forbids that, says you cannot record proceedings."
Also completely unnecessary because they transcribe everything and we can get it if we need it, of course, like.
Well, the idea is that while you're in the trial,
Mm,
you're seeing in real time these summaries, which would be valuable if it weren't totally prohibited
right.
by the courtrooms
For
and
very
the
good
statutes.
reason, for very valid reasons.
Very good reason. So we're going to do a segment on note-taking apps because it's
Excellent.
such an important category.
Mhm,
And it's really would be valuable for lawyers to know how to use that. So I have a whole litany of some tools that I looked at over the last week so I could kind of speak intelligently on this topic. And one of them, and this is hot in the bankruptcy world, is Glade AI.
mm. I've looked at Glade.
I looked at Glade. I talked to the guy, super nice guy. Glade looks like a really powerful tool that does pretty much everything.
Mhm,
for a bankruptcy law firm. Now, it's not going to answer the phone for you,
mhm.
but it will set up automated communications with clients, help collect documents, draft your pleadings. I mean, candidly, Heather, if I was a paralegal and I was looking at Glade, I would do two things. First of all, I'd learn it. I'd learn it because I think some things like that are the future. And you know what? I might try to come up with talking points as to why you still need paralegals,
Mhm,
because you still need paralegals because you need that human oversight of what the AI is doing,
mhm,
and that's what a paralegal provides.
mhm.
But Glade says that you can scan in pay stubs and tax returns and bank statements and other documents, and it'll spit out a preliminary first draft of your schedules and petition.
It goes for many steps beyond that. It will pull them down from systems itself. It will pull them down from, banks and payroll services.
Right.
It
That's
will
right.
actually get those documents without the person having to provide them, just signing
That's
off
right.
on an authorization. I have multiple clients that use Glade that still use our paralegals for that work. So I do have
You know,
multiple paralegals assisting attorneys who use Glade.
So Glade, the sales rep who walked me through Glade, used a phrase that I'm going to have to start using, although I think it's not one of my favorite phrases. He says it's a vertical solution.
Yes.
It's a vertical.
It is not the answer, it is not the end all be all. It is a multiplier like so many AI tools are. It can be if you can get it implemented correctly.
But it's an all or nothing thing. You can't just buy modules. You can't just say, well, I want the schedule prep module, but I don't want the client communication module. It's
Mhm.
all or nothing. You
Right.
got to do the whole thing. And it's going to really fully consume your practice
Mhm.
as far as getting it up and running, training, transitioning from prior systems. It's a big investment. All right. So I'm not saying that to deter anybody, because I think it's worth looking at.
You don't even need to deter anyone because you know bankruptcy attorneys as well as I do. They don't need any extra deterring.
Right. But you know what? It's kind of a high Simpsons type of
I
tool.
think Glade AI is Jetson's level
You think it's
100%,
Jetson's level all the way?
especially for and I'm not trying to stereotype, but especially for our industry, because we know that attorneys, when it comes to AI and any new software tool, are cautious. And again, like we said earlier about not recording court proceedings for very good reason. Caution is needed in our industry.
Always. Always.
But yeah, it is to me, it's Judson's level on, across the board, especially in the bankruptcy industry. And I say that having seen the tool for the last 2 years and seeing attorneys try to use it and try
Mhm.
to add it to their firm and try to implement it and seeing what that looks like.
Right.
So I think it's even, if there were a step beyond the Jetsons, I would say Glade is above the Jetsons level for the bankruptcy industry.
It's the Blade Runner level.
Yeah, it is. It's the Space 2000 level,
Right.
it's something far beyond this. It's not cartoon level. That is
Right.
for sure.
So, all right. So let's move on to some other tools in other practice areas. I had a demo of the Litmus. That's LITMAS,
Mhm,
which is a litigation tool. Um, it's structured so that it takes you everywhere from the complaint, at least up to trial. I didn't really have a chance to ask how it helps with trial prep and actually being in trial, but I was impressed with the tool for things like drafting the complaint, making sure you have all of your elements pled, making sure you have all of the facts you need to support the elements. It's a great discovery tool, both for producing discovery and responding to discovery. And it is not alone in its category. There are a number of litigation tools like that I did a little bit of litigation here and there during my practice. I would have loved to have a tool like Litmus. It
mhm.
really, because it helps. You're thinking, well, I got to get my discovery out, blah, blah, blah. But, if you've got a tool like Litmus, you get discovery out on day one because it's really done for you subject to human oversight always. But it really, I was impressed with how powerful Litmus was.
Okay, cool.
All right. So that's in the litigation category. I didn't get a chance to look at any tools in the family law category or the immigration law category or the estate planning category, but I very much intend that we'll look at them down the road because, lawyers need to know what's out there and how they can reduce their systemic bottlenecks.
Yeah, and
All right.
you're everything you're talking about are standalone tools, but another thing to remember is a lot of the tools we've all used in the legal world for many years are now adding AI to their products so that you can
That,
stay with the tool that you're comfortable with, whether that's Clio or Infusionsoft or Westlaw, for instance. Fastcase,
yes.
ones that we've used for years and years, now have their own powerful AI components that can do more.
Heather, that was a very clever hint at our next episode, which is going to be AI and tools you're already using.
Great,
So
great.
we're definitely going to be talking about that next week. Zoom, Lexis, Copilot for the Microsoft Office suite,
Mhm.
like, and even Gemini a little bit,
Google with
right?
Gemini, it's getting
Eh,
more and more advanced,
That's
exactly,
right.
and sophisticated all the time.
And it's right there in all of your apps.
Mhm.
All right. So then in the kind of like sales slash revenue initial intake, I talked to a few vendors. Talked to Smith.ai.
Okay, I know Smith,
Now,
very good
just
product.
be now you got to know that there's Smith.ai is how you refer to the product, but
Mhm,
the website is smithai.com.
mhm.
I had a very nice demo with Smith, and there were some interesting things that I learned. I learned they've been using AI in the background for 9 years, which was very interesting to me. Right, where you thought, oh, 2023 is when AI came into being, but that's not true. There have been AI elements to technology and their tools for a
Look at
long time.
Grammarly, we've all
Look at
used
Grammarly.
Grammarly for so many years, what people, don't realize that is an AI tool.
Sure. So Smith is interesting because you have a choice if you're a customer. You can have an entirely human interaction where, 24/7 call centers that go through a script, and if it's an important matter, they know how to get the lawyer on the phone by cell phone,
Mhm,
which is, a traditional answering service type role.
mhm,
But they also have an AI chatbot where you call in, the phone is picked up by AI,
mhm.
and you're having a conversation with somebody. And supposedly that AI has been coded to a tolerance where it knows time to bring in the lawyer. Foreclosure tomorrow. I'm indicted. I just got pulled over for DUI. I got into a terrible accident, and I have a deposition tomorrow and I finally need to have a lawyer, whatever. Supposedly they can understand that they need to get that lawyer on the cell phone
Mhm.
or communicate to that lawyer. Um, Now, what I did was I sent out an email yesterday to all the vendor reps that I spoke with, letting them know we're going to talk about their product today and inviting them to send me a soundbite.
Oh, nice.
So Smith.ai sent me a soundbite. And this is what I was given. Smith.ai is the AI workforce for your law firm's front office. Smith.ai offers a complete system of AI and human receptionists capable of screening, intake, and scheduling to ensure busy law firms capture more leads, qualify cases accurately, and keep attorneys focused on billable work. That's that
It's a good
that's
soundbite.
what Smith.ai wants listeners to know about their product. All right. So now Smith AI is kind of in the middle. We're going to go on the opposite ends of the extreme. There's Hona, Hona,
Mhm.
and that's a product that is all AI receptionist. There is no human option. Here's their soundbite. Hona helps law firms proactively communicate with clients through automated case updates and messaging. By keeping clients informed at every stage, firms reduce inbound calls, improve client satisfaction, and build stronger trust through the representation. Okay, so I'm going to say something. I'm a little nervous with an AI receptionist because where's the governance? Who's listening into that call? What's going on in that call? Is there legal advice? Are they going to start talking in different languages because, the AI kind of like skips into a different formatting? But I'll say this for sure. I believe that an AI receptionist is far superior to just voicemail. I think you're going to lose that client, that new client if
Can
they
you
go to
not
voicemail.
can you not limit it and tell it what it can and cannot say? I mean, I would think it's programmable like all AI, you can
Oh,
train it,
of course,
but you're saying you
you
may
have
not be
to.
able to trust it in the
Well,
grand scheme of things.
it's like all AI tools. You never know what they're going to do.
They need a human oversight. Yeah.
And so, but like I said, I do think it's better than just voicemail. So, and it might be better than a human. It's possible that look, ChatGPT is 10 million times smarter than I am. Right? I talk into ChatGPT. It
10
throws stuff at
million?
me I'd never
What?
even thought of.
I've known you a long time. That's not true.
All right. It's 3 or 4 million times smarter than me. But,
You're
so I
selling
think it's
yourself short.
possible that you might be able to have, a chatbot receptionist that does better than a human would do. A human is bound by a script, and they're not going to deviate from the script, nor should they.
Yeah.
Uh, an AI chatbot might be able to have more nuanced communications than a human. I
Okay.
don't know, but it's a thing to
That's
look at
interesting. That
and
is
to
a
look
very
for.
interesting take on it. I would say the opposite. I would say a human would be able to have the greater amount of nuance, but that the AI tool would probably have a much greater knowledge base to
You
look
know
for
what?
answers.
If I've got an overseas call center,
They're not going to understand the nuance at all.
I don't want them nuancing my
No,
new clients.
no.
So, but it's possible. It's possible. Hona does something else that I didn't get a chance to look at. That was fascinating to me, and it seems completely unrelated to the intake receptionist piece. They have a product for personal injury firms to help their clients go through treatment for their injuries.
Okay.
It helps them stay on top of it, reminds them of their appointments, keeps track of the medical records, lets them know when they're finished treating. And I think I haven't seen any tool that does that.
So are you saying it involves even the physicians treating? So it sounds like they have to be involved if it's able to tell you when you're completed your treatment.
Well, the physicians would tell the law firm,
Gotcha.
and
And
then
they
the
put
law
it
firm
in,
would
they plug it
communicate.
in.
Because I think a pain point for personal injury law firms is getting their clients to the treating physicians. And my guess is that this would help. So to me, that's kind of an interesting product. I don't know anything else about that product.
That is,
But if you're a PI lawyer, it might be worth saying, oh, wow, that would be
mhm.
great. Because I
And
think that probably
paralegals,
is a pain point.
PI paralegals should learn to use that tool. Like
Right.
you
And
said,
at
not
least
plain
know.
AI with bankruptcy. Yes, PI
Right.
paralegals should be able to, yeah, navigate things of that scale for sure.
Uh, Now, the last demo that I took, or the last vendor that I spoke to, is answering legal. And that is an old fashioned answering service, human answering
Mhm.
service. I'm not, after speaking with the the guy I talked to who was super nice, I really how'd they get on my radar? But the only AI that they offer is a chatbot that is clients can access through a website.
Is it a basic, you mean? Like a basic, just gonna answer basic questions and schedule, maybe?
I think so.
Okay. Safe. That's very safe.
From a cost standpoint, theoretically, the Hona model might be cheapest. And that was something that the rep, kind of was trying to communicate to me, which is that most answering services charge by the minute,
Mhm.
they charge by the call.
Because they're paying humans at the human one, and this one does not have to. They have none of
That's right.
that to take. They have to think about server space and
It's all
overhead.
profit. It's
Right.
all profit R&D.
Mhm.
So like I said, if you're in the voicemail model, and you may want to consider a product like Hona
Mhm.
or like Smith.ai for
Mhm.
AI, because I personally do think it's better than
Or even
voicemail.
answering legal. Yeah,
Or
some of the
answering legal is going to the human being again.
well, yeah, a lot of attorneys are far more comfortable with that.
They are. They are. And for good reason. Again, we don't judge any lawyer for any decision that they make as far as their systems go. We're just trying to give them information that will help them feel like they're
Mhm.
improving their systems. So some administrative AI tools that I did not get a chance to vet, but just to let listeners know that they're out there. Otter, which we did talk about. Fireflies also records meeting and creates
Mhm.
transcripts.
A good tool.
Motion is an AI scheduling assistant that automatically organizes calendar tasks and priorities. Reclaim AI is a smart calendar assistant. Zapier AI. Zapier is like also Super Jetsons level that helps different software communicate with each other. And then there's Notion AI, which
Mhm.
is just Notion that has an AI bot that is more or less useful. Honestly, and I'd rather use Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT to navigate through Notion than Notion's AI bot. I've used them both, and I think that the generative AI is better.
Okay.
Your mileage may vary.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said earlier, you don't wanna ever fault an attorney for what they're using because
All right.
everybody's a different level of comfortability.
All right. And while we're talking about, Flintstones, Simpsons, Jetsons, if you're on the Flintstones level, I would kind of stick to ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude at this point because you could
Mhm.
do so much of what the specialist tools do. I mean, they're not going to answer the phone, but you could do so much with those tools. And I would just learn them, get comfortable with them before, I would jump up. Simpsons, you can start to introduce one or two specialist tools if you identify a specific bottleneck in your workflows. Intake chaos, client communications, document management, scheduling overload. AI tools can help with all of that. If you're on the Jetsons level, you're probably already experimenting with all these tools, probably already spent more time than you should thinking about, AI tech. And maybe you do want to take on a Glade or another vertical solution if you're on that level. So I have a new segment that we're going to start talking about, and it's called Practice Signals. And I'm really excited about it because, yeah, I'm thumbing through. I spend too much time on social media. I don't think I'm the only one. And I'm part of a bunch of different lawyer groups. And sometimes I see a post and I say, wait a second, you can solve this with
Mhm.
AI. What are you posting? So here's the first post, and I want to get your take on this, Heather. Someone writes in, I have a speaking engagement coming up at a local church, with the topic being Bankruptcy 101. Does anyone here have a basic slideshow or a Bankruptcy 101 outline they've used for public speaking and wouldn't mind sharing? Now, what's your first thought when you hear that?
We talked about this a little earlier, and I had the exact same first thought as you for various reasons. Why are you here asking other people and not putting this together with a very advanced AI tool or any AI tool for something as basic as what you're talking about in Bankruptcy 101? This is nothing that you can't find, in AI land. I think what is interesting is 5 years ago, you couldn't find that information online, right? We
Right.
know that bankruptcy is one of those weird industries where before AI, you could not find this information readily. And maybe that is where this person is. They don't realize that now there are a lot of avenues where you can create your own speech as well as put your own flair, your own spin, your own preferences into it, make it your own. But yeah, you had it exactly right when you said why use someone else's? Use your own.
You know, on deeper reflection, I don't fault them for asking for other product, but this is like you could put a prompt into ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude and say, "I'm giving a speech at a church. The speech is going to be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, right? The agent will adjust for that and will
Mhm.
give you a speech that has that length. And it's at a church. So maybe you want to ask the software to give you some biblical references
That's a nice touch.
for for the different things that you're talking about that will resonate and will land with your audience. You're not going to get that from other lawyers.
Right.
Again, go ahead, get the work product from other lawyers. No harm there.
Mhm.
But this is tailor made for you know for ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. And here's the thing: you get the first iteration, and let's say, yeah, I don't really like that. I want you to beef up the automatic stay part of it. All right, they'll go back and they'll do it again. No
Focus.
lip,
Yeah, X,
no
Y,
talk back.
what might be a really cool thing to do because they're getting a lot of other examples for if they did have a lot of people share their bankrupt I have, a couple of bankruptcy 101 presentations I've done in the past. If I were to gather some from people that I like admired and respected in the industry, I would probably dump it all into my tool and say, "Get me the best pieces of all of these different presentations so that I can
Hmm.
use an example, and see what is the best parts. And then take those and then say, give me a first draft and then go back and forth with it, like you're talking about, or upload some of my own presentations and say, now put my voice, put my tone to this, make it more me."
Right. I mean, I think that that's a great use for the AI tool, and I hope that that lawyer's speech is gets standing ovations.
Me too.
So, all right, now we're to go into the Flintstones, Simpsons, Jetsons thing, where we give our tips to the lawyers at the different levels. I have something, Heather, and if you want to join in, I'm really interested in using these tools, and I'm talking about the general purpose tools for tech support and tutorials, software tutorials. I use it constantly for that purpose to help me navigate through Notion, or I'm doing a lab on AI and video, and it's walking me through all the different software providers. So to use this very powerful tool, it's ideal if you know how to take a screenshot, either with your phone, or with your desktop computer. So if you're on the Flintstones level, my tip is learn how to do screenshots. Just we'll talk about the next step there, but learn how to do screenshots. And I asked ChatGPT, is this too basic? And it says, no, it's not too basic. Lots of lawyers don't know how to take screenshots with
That's
their phones or
Mhm,
with their desktops.
mhm.
And the reality is, if you do know how to take screenshots, then you're not on the Flintstones level here. You're already on the Simpsons level.
Okay.
If you know how to take them, as far as that particular use
Mhm.
goes, you might be on Flintstones level on other things, but on this one, you're not on the Flintstones. You've stepped up to the Simpsons level.
Okay.
If you're all right from the Simpsons, I want you to take a screenshot of the app you use most frequently. Whether it's MS Word, whether it's calendar, whether it's email, whatever. I want you to take screenshots of the different menus, like a dashboard or a homepage or a workspace, and I want you to upload it to your chatbot and ask, walk me through every feature on this screen that I may not be using. You'll discover things you never knew existed. It will absolutely enhance your workflow if you're on the Simpsons level. But because you already know how to make screenshots. And by the way, we are working on getting the podcast website up. And when we do, I'm going to have links to different videos and instructions on how to take screenshots. And maybe I'll put them in the show notes as well. On the Jetsons, take a screenshot of software that you're curious about, that you've never used. Maybe it's AI video software. Maybe it's you want to take a free trial of some other tool, but you kind of don't know how to navigate it because you've never seen it before. Take a few screenshots and ask the chatbot to walk you through how to use the software. And you'll level up in a hurry.
Excellent.
Heather, any thoughts?
This week I was going to say for the Flintstones level, something that we've talked about in our other episodes, but I think is one of the most valuable ways for an attorney to start using a large language model like GPT or Claude or Gemini. And that is just start having it draft substantive emails. If you do nothing else, start having it do that. This is a low to no risk and immediate reward because you're going to save time, energy, stress, manpower, but your own time that you get back from, and this as an attorney, how many times have you looked at an email and just thought, I have to sit down and draft a response to this. I want to make sure I say this in, a diplomatic way or X, Y, or Z way. Just drop that email into your secure GPT or Claude or whatever system you're using that's paid and secure and say, I need to draft a response. And here are the points I really want to cover. But even if you're just doing it for inter-office, drafting emails is one of the most valuable ways that an attorney can start easily, quickly using AI in their everyday practice and can help ease them in, to bigger things.
Yes, really. And don't forget to tell the chatbot the tone you want
Always.
for the email. That's important.
And then for the Simpsons level, I say try out and start one of those note takers for your meetings. I know that can seem more Jetsons level, but I feel the more and more AI continues to advance, we're not dumbing down, but these things have become normal already, right? These are already things many of us have been using for years. And I think more and more people need to utilize, but even just doing a trial and seeing how you like it and if you think it benefits your firm or your workflow. For Jetsons level, I put things like Zapier. Try a month of Zapier. And for me, that is Jetsons level because if you don't already know how to use apps and AI and other, tech efficiently, Zapier is really useless if you don't know how to use it and if you aren't already knowledgeable in these other areas.
Yeah, you do. You do have to have a sense of how fields get mapped from one software to another, and that's a hard thing, even on the Simpsons level, to understand that field mapping. Those are great tips. Those are awesome, Heather. All right, next week we're going to talk about AI and apps you're already using: Microsoft Copilot, Zoom AI, Westlaw, Lexis, Clio, and others. So until next time, keep experimenting and keep looking for the bottlenecks in your systems. All right, till next time. Heather, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
That's it for today's episode of AI Tools for Practicing Lawyers. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.